Well, there's no stopping the Engage Super League Magic Weekend. We now have Game 3, and Warrington can take over the leadership of the Super League table by beating Salford by 25 points or more here at Murrayfield right now. But before we have a look at this match, let's take a check on the way the weekend has panned out so far. And look, the top 8 teams, Bradford and Hull, cannot win for the top 8. Crusaders 19-0, Harlequins 25-8 in the last match. Now it's Warrington's turn, and later we'll have Leeds against Wakefield. And then tomorrow, Castleford, Catalan, Wigan, Huddersfield. That has all the promise of being the match of the weekend. And Saints and Hull Kingston Rovers will bring the curtain down on this fantastic weekend of action. Here's the table. It's not changed, but as you can see, if Warrington win by 25 points or more, they will go top of the table at least for 24 hours. And the Salford City Reds, well, they need the victory also, of course, because they are now linked with Harlequins after their victory just on 6 points. This is the way the sides will line up then. And first of all, the Salford City Reds, they've got Fitzpatrick at full back, Tyra, Tallow, Ratchford and Gibson, Matty Smith and Daniel Holsworth in the engine room. Up front, it's Sibbett, Alka, who captains the team, of course, and Boyle, Adamson, Littler and Luke Swain. And then on the bench, it's Smith, Luluai, Sidlow and young Jack Spencer making his Super League debut. For coach Sean McRae. Now then, a problem for Warrington because Richie Mather's partner is in hospital expecting their baby, so he has been sent home. Chris Riley will play at full-back, and young Rhys Williams comes in on the wing wearing 29. Inside him, Ryan Atkins, Chris Bridge and Chris Hicks. It's Lee Breers and Richard Myler, who of course is up against his former club. Adrian Morley captains them, Michael Monaghan's the hooker, and Ben Harrison fills in for the injured Gareth Carvell. He's in the front row. Louis Anderson, Ben Westwood and Simon Griggs complete the forward pack. And on the bench, it's Mike Cooper, who's been brought back from his loan spell with Castleford, Tyrone McCarthy, David Solomona and Vinnie Anderson. The coach, of course, is Tony Smith. Well, the odds look good for Warrington. With Wigan, they've scored more Super League tries this season than anyone. And Salford have got the least number of tries under their belt, just 27. And the Wolves in their last 2 wins against Salford have won by 32 points to 2 and 62 points to 20. But those 2 encounters were both at home. What's going to happen here in Edinburgh? It's Game 3 of the Magic Weekend. Brian Carney, Terry O'Connor and Phil Clark alongside Bill Arthur.
Yes, contrasting fortunes for these 2 sides, and the enthusiasm and fervour of the Warrington Wolves supporters demonstrate what a great season their side is having. 9 wins, just 3 defeats in their opening 12 rounds, whereas Sean McRae's men have just 3 wins and 9 defeats in what has been a tough campaign for them so far. But when they put their minds to it, they can trouble the big guns, as Huddersfield and Hull FC will testify, because they are 2 of the sides to have lost to this Salford team this season. So Warrington cannot afford to take Salford lightly, even though it's the Salford side missing some influential performers, and none more so than big Ray Cashmere, who is an absentee. So too is Rob Parker. James Childs rather is the referee as Warrington get the game underway. And good news for Warrington already this afternoon. Eddie mentioned that Richie Mathers was absent for domestic reasons. Well, his wife Sasha actually gave birth to a little girl earlier on this afternoon. Didn't hang around, waters broke in the early hours of this morning. Richie was on the road, back in time just to make it for the birth of their first child. So congratulations to Richie, congratulations to Sasha, and welcome to Little Blossom. Congratulations to you all. And it's the Salford City Reds in possession here, and they need a solid start to the Reds.
Well, the Reds need a low-scoring game, I think, to have any chance of winning here today. And as on the evidence of the 2 previous matches, they have a chance, of course. Usually we've seen 50 points on average in a game in the Magic Weekend. The 2 previous ones have been far less than that. And Salford, who defended very well last week against Castleford, need to do the same again here today.
Great support for the Wolves here. The stadium has been filling up, as James Childs says markers not square for Salford City Reds. The Wolves supporters here in good numbers. And as the weather has improved as the day has gone on, a bit of a chill in the air, brisk wind blowing around the stadium, but a lovely afternoon, a lovely pitch as well. It's standing up well here. The groundsman Michael Yanghip and his team have been at work since dawn broke this morning in Edinburgh, out there on the pitch, and it's still in great shape. They're just hoping that there's no rain. The worry is that these games, or 7 of them, might just take its toll, but there's no sign of that yet.
No, held up very well. We haven't seen any problems with the players' footwear either. I mean, we just saw Salford give a penalty away there. It's not what they want to do against a team with Monaghan, Myler, Griggs,
and it's Monaghan who is going for the line and getting the try. You mentioned the name, and no sooner than that man, Michael Monaghan, plunges through some pretty slender Salford defence to get the first points of the game, to the delight of the Wolves supporters. Michael Monaghan, who picked up a bit of a knock in the victory over the Crusaders last week, but not showing any ill effects of that. Gets his 5th Super League try of the season. And the penalty, well, Warrington exacted full punishment.
Well, interference in the play of the ball, and the most common penalty in rugby league. It was the one that put Warrington close to Salford's try line, and if you can't stand 6 tackles or more on your own line, then you've no chance of winning in this game. A very simple effort there from Monaghan. Picks it up, shows the ball to some support runners, but just beats Sibbett, one of the marker defenders, not quick enough at getting the man behind the play of the ball, and they made that look very, very easy.
Now it's Ben Westwood who's got the kicking duties, the latest goal kicker. Got a rich selection of goal kickers at the Warrington club. Chris Hicks is back in the side today, but Ben Westwood continues with the goal kicking duties, and not surprising because he's landed another one. He kicked 6 from 7 against the Catalan Dragons last weekend, and he's got another one today to extend that early lead given them by Michael Monaghan's try.
A big challenge for Warrington, for Salford today, is controlling his play to ball speed from this Warrington side. Michael Monaghan is a real danger for this side, and the big forwards from Warrington, like Morley, who's driving the ball in, they've really got to slow this man down.
Here is Morley playing against his hometown club, a very proud Salfordian Morley, but Warrington very proud to have him in their side. There is the Warrington Wolves coach Tony Smith, masterminding the best start to the Super League campaign for his team. And watching that kick fielded by Fitzpatrick, at fullback for the Salford City Reds.
The Reds were let down last weekend, Bill, in part by the passing accuracy. Sometimes that's a reflection of the confidence in the side. And when you are towards the bottom of the table, it's no wonder that perhaps at times your confidence is low. But if they are prepared to play this game, they will have to make some passes, ask some questions of Warrington in defence, but make sure the timing of the run and the passing accuracy is good.
Boyle with Stephen Ratchford in support. Ratchford playing in the centres for Sean McRae today. Stand off by profession. That's how he's made his reputation, a growing reputation, but now he's going to have to show some skills in the centres position. Mark Henry, another of the absentees, as they give it some width. Willie Tallow gets the ball out wide.
Well, that's
but Tyra couldn't take the pass.
Sorry, Bill, a perfect example, though. We'll see the pass goes behind Stephen Tyra. Every winger like Brian Carney will tell you he wants it here, he wants it early, but he wants it in front of him.
Yeah, ball gone to ground. It's an interesting point you make about Ratchford going into the centres. I remember being here at the Magic Weekend, as we see a penalty given to Warrington. Here last weekend, Ratchford, high tackle on Morley. Fair from the referee, I think. Ratchford was tormenting people with these high spiral kicks he was able to put in, moving him out into the centres. I wonder, will we ever see him move into first or second receiver, try and test out the Warrington back three with his kicking game? It'll be difficult from the centre position.
Of course, a gaping hole left in the Salford side by the departure of Richie Myler, only a youngster, but he'd already become such an important player for the Salford City Reds. And now, of course, a big money signing for the Warrington Wolves, who get the penalty. Ian Stibbett penalised again.
They cannot give back-to-back penalties away. It'll really hurt them as this game goes on.
Simon Griggs back in the side, missed the Catalan game. He's given a bit of a breather by his coach, who has the luxury of being able to rotate things with the squad that he's got.
Warrington stacks for a shift here.
And Monaghan looking for another one. Well, he's over the line, or right on it. He's held, says the referee. Actually sensing that there's still a weakness despite that first try. They're still not on the ball there. So the kick out wide to Breers, looking for Hicks. And Hicks is over the line, right under the nose of the referee, and gets the try. He's back in the side after missing the last 2 games, and back with another Warrington try, and already looking ominous for the Salford City Reds. 9th of the season for Chris Hicks.
Well, I said that the Reds' hopes was on a low-scoring game. Again, we see a similar pattern implored here. Penalty around the play of the ball. Warrington is showing that their ability here to get into good field position, and then a clinical approach. It's an inaccurate pass, well taken, and then it's a fantastic kick eventually on the end of it. Hicks has the space and the strength then to go over the top of Tyra and score. He just waits to take the kick in, knows that it has to stay in the field of play, does it successfully, and grounds to perfection.
Might there have been an invitation for the referee to consult a video ref there? Chris Hicks very tight to the whitewash, but James Child, the courage of his convictions, deciding that Hicks got that ball down fair and square. Now then, Ben Westwood, goal kicker extraordinaire. This is a test of his abilities. Way out on the touchline, giving it a good thump, on target. Well, Chris Hicks is not going to get the goal-kicking duties back. Lee Breers might not want them back. Richie Myler can kick goals as well.
Well, Stephen Tyra has too much distance to cover here. You see him circled. He has to get across to Chris Hicks, who takes it, and he has that advantage as well of the momentum with him to ground again. They're making this 2 tries in the first 10 minutes. They've taken all of the pressure off for themselves here now with such a positive start.
But Steve Tyra had to do better than that. He made contact and he let Chris Hicks go over the top of him and score that try.
Well, the Warrington Wolves have won 5 of their last 6 games in League and Cup. They are in great form and looking a real threat in the competition, especially with the general there, Lee Breers, back in the side, although has been hampered by injuries. Only 5 appearances so far this season for Lee Breers. There he is, putting the kick in, just inside his own half. Good deep one, and Fitzpatrick sees it soar over his head and out of play. Salford will have a struggle, you feel, to get up the other end of the field, certainly on the evidence of the opening 9 minutes here.
You talk about Lee Breers being the general, and he's for years associated with dictating Warrington's play, and he still does it. However, I maintain that a lot of the good stuff that Warrington do comes from in closer to the ruck from Michael Monaghan and Michael Monaghan's play. He's one of the smartest ball-playing hookers in the league. You put him up there with Danny Badiris and Kieran Cunningham. He's not just a runner, he picks his times, and a lot of the good stuff that comes off for Warrington starts with Michael Monaghan at the base of the ruck.
Salford onto the 40-metre line, just managing to inch their way forward here, but then giving the ball away, and it is Myler who picks it up, but it was knocked on. And it was knocked on by a Warrington hand, says the referee, by the look of things.
Well, at least on this play, Salford have shown that they'll shift the ball. They've passed it, and Malcolm Alker in the background is a little disappointed that one or two of his players weren't running into the right holes. I think they will have to move the ball around. We saw in the first 4 carries of that set, they just made 20 metres, but they were really dominated in every play. They'll have to play some rugby if you want to beat Warrington, or even challenge them in this match.
Willie Tallow gets up to play the ball. Nearly 300 games in his career now for Tallow, including 152 of them for St Helens. A really experienced campaigner in this Salford City Red side. Now Matty Smith, another one with bags of experience, even though he's only 22. And that's a good break. And with Ratchford now, it's the run from Gibson, and Ratchford doing well to keep it alive, and they have made progress up that end of the field. This is encouraging for the Reds now. Daniel Holdsworth directing the troops. Here he is now, Holdsworth. And then shifting it wide. They've got men out wide if they can get the ball there. Tallow put the pass in, but it was again a Warrington hand in there, and then something was said, I think.
Played at by Lee Breers. There you go, there's the penalty. They go wide, comes off Lee Breers, goes forward. Come on top, it's the second effort, and Salford now have the ball back again.
Well, this is a great opportunity for the Reds, and they are close to that try line. Malcolm Alker. Matty Smith. Holdsworth shifts it out wide, and they are in for the try, and it's Ratchford. We talked about his versatility. Well, there he was on the wing. But has he got the try? Because video ref Ian Smith is going to be consulted on this one.
Well, he's got hit with a wonderful ball here. Good shape from Salford. He's going to look for crossing, I think.
Is it there?
No,
he's looking for the obstruction underneath the sticks.
Yeah, well, I don't think it's okay,
This is the lead runner just to the left of the sticks.
Fine. That's fine.
The question is, was Griggs blocked out there?
Well, you've got to say Griggs was pushing off the Salford player as well.
What a ball at the end. Is he looking at Myler here? This one now.
That one.
Well, the question you ask yourself, Bill, are any of the defenders impeded from making a tackle? And I think they aren't. I think this is a great pass, a good try from Stephen Ratchford, and I'm delighted that Salford are moving this ball around and have put some points on the scoreboard.
That is a great try if it's awarded, and it is for Stephen Ratchford. First of the season for him, and that's a perfect response from Sean McRae's side to a pretty disastrous start. Penalties conceded, tries conceded, behind on the scoreboard. Well, now they've got something on the scoreboard themselves through Stephen Ratchford, who's praised with Sung earlier on.
Well, the Achilles heel for the Salford side this year has been their inability to score when they get close to opponent's try line here. It's a difficult part of the game, but they've made it look easy there on the first time here with Daniel Holdsworth. A brilliant left-to-right pass, perfectly in front of the man, charging onto it. And Stephen Ratchford knows his side are back in this.
And if Fitzhenry can land this, Holdsworth can land this, it will be a massive 2 points for his side. Holdsworth has done so. Some excellent touchline goal kicking already we've seen. And Salford cut the deficits. And satisfaction for coach Sean McRae for the way his side have hit back.
Well, I'm glad he didn't chalk this off, Bill. They've run some very good what they call leads, and that final ball from Holdsworth is bang on the money, well deserved.
I think you make a point, don't you, about the fact that he had 2 or 3 options to pass the ball to, and then he had to deliver the right one. The one where the man was in space, he delivered it perfectly.
And it'll go back, though, to, I mean, Warrington have only got themselves to blame because they conceded the penalty for something that we think somebody said. So they put themselves under pressure there, and they paid the price.
And they'll learn the lesson that if that's Salford down there, now we know Salford are capable of points in this game.
There's Littler in possession for the Salford City Reds. His first start in 7 games. His first start. And that's lifted this Salford side. Sibbett with a good run. Then Holdsworth stabs a kick through, and Riley playing at full-back in the absence of Richie Mathers, who's already on paternity leave.
Well, another excellent kick by Holdsworth there. It was an attempted 40-20, and Riley had to be quick to get over. I think otherwise it would have found the sideline and Salford would have been in possession again.
So Chris Riley at full-back, young Rhys Williams, just 20 years of age, making his 3rd appearance on the wing in Riley's place. But he's no slouch either. They've got some talent coming through as well, have the Warrington Wolves. Monaghan to his feet, just out of play. Monaghan just moving a little bit awkwardly after that tackle. Here's Ben Westwood now, runs right over the top of his teammate Adrian Morley. And Warrington rumbling up the middle. That is a great ball, and Breers has support from Myler. Was Myler taken before he could collect the pass? Not so, says the referee. Play on, and Salford do, and Talau will bring it away for the Reds.
Well, great recovery by Salford in defence here to get back. But good play also, I thought, by Warrington. They are quite famous for the fact that of offloading the ball late in the tackle. Before it's just committed, Morley was the first. 3 offloads set up that play. It was so draining for Salford, but they did recover.
There's a chance for Warrington to go top of the table this evening. It might only be short-lived. Wigan and St Helens both playing on Sunday, but a win by 25 points or more here will put Warrington at the top of the table, and that would, again, just underline the start to the season, the best start to a Super League season for Warrington.
That was interesting though on the wide shot. We just saw the formation that Warrington have when they're taking the kick. They almost have two fullbacks, both given about 30 metres of which they have to cover. They position themselves about 15 metres in from the sideline, and then they know that they've got a quicker chance of getting to the ball.
Ben Harrison in possession, and just to emphasise the point, he gets the penalty, saying he was being impeded by Ryan Boyle.
Well, trying to slow Ben Harrison down. They've got to give themselves, they've definitely lifted, they've got a lot more confidence since they've scored that try. And the pleasing thing for Sean McRae is they get into the kick. They failed to do that last week.
On his foot, wait.
But the penalty takes Warrington up to the 40-metre line in the Salford half, and here is Morley now, as ever, running it into the heart of the Salford defence.
Back up. Hold.
Now Monaghan. Grix and Harrison. Harrison
Hold the 10.
gets to his feet, plays the ball. Monaghan now. Breers. Great ball out to the other back, but then it was knocked on. It was Chris Bridge with the pass, but Riley couldn't take it. Caught him by surprise, really. So head and feed to the Salford City Reds. I think we've got some early injury news. Rod Studd on the sidelines now.
Yes, Bill, they're keeping a close eye, the Warrington coaching and physio staff, on Richie Marler. He took a knock trying to take the pass just close to the Salford try line a couple of minutes ago. They've already been on to have 2 looks at him just to check he's still okay. Got a blow to the ribs and was breathing very heavily and struggling with his breathing, but he's got the thumb up. They're going to keep him out there, but it's certainly something they're going to keep close eyes on over the next 5 to 10 minutes.
Wouldn't like to lose the young wizard out there.
No, but I think looking at them, they got a bit of versatility there. I think they can. Simon Grix could move easily into the halves. See Myler collected there, and Solomon was obviously a great ball-playing option to bring onto the field.
Salford 6, Warrington 12. This is the first game in this Magic Weekend series where we've had points from both sides in the first half. And you get the feeling that there might well be a lot more points in this one. It's been very free-flowing, in contrast to certainly to the opening game with Crusaders and Bradford. That's a nothing kick, but it's almost turned into something by Ratchford. He very nearly got away with that ball, and then it went forward. If he could have kept a hold on it, it might have been a very different outcome.
Great example, though, of a player wanting to compete in every play. He knows the opposition have the ball, but he wants to go for it. We saw Harlequins in the previous game pushing at a scrum. You have to compete in every single aspect to put your opposition under pressure. Stephen Ratchford did it. Okay, they didn't come up with the ball, but a nice indication that Salford are in here for the fight.
Rhys Williams very nearly caught napping there, the Welsh international, by the enthusiasm of Stephen Ratchford. And Ratchford always in the shadow of Myler in their golden period at the Salford City Reds, and now very much a player in his own right, out of the shadow. Monaghan down a very, very narrow sideline and gets the penalty. Offside is the verdict from referee Child.
Smart play from Michael Monaghan.
But do any of the marker defenders actually get involved in this tackle? Perhaps the first one did, going to the referee.
Wait for his foot.
He's so clever. Every time Michael Monaghan goes behind dummy half, he's not looking down, he's having a little look up, seeing what he can do. Is there a defender that's getting back slow? Is there a defender that's not set up marker?
Salford conceding 5 penalties already, and in danger of paying the ultimate price here now as Warrington come forward once more. And here is Myler showing no ill effects of that knock. Breers now. Riley wide to Hicks for a second, is it? Bridge with the pass. It'll need a video ref decision on this one. Really tight to the sidelines, Hicks was there.
I'm going to say he's got this down without looking at it.
He is a great finisher, is Chris Hicks. 9 already this season.
Well, he isn't given much space, is he, to work in. His shots are being pulled down.
That's a try.
Yes, certainly grounds the ball before any of his body hits the corner flag, which would have taken him out of play. and an excellent finish to, I think, 5 passes from the centre of the field. I think Warrington do that play better than anybody else in Super League. You can see so many examples, if you look back over the course of the last couple of seasons, them shifting it to that right wing. It's one of the reasons why the crowd now are getting so heavily behind them.
Chris Hicks got 2 tries in the Easter win against the Reds, 32 points to 2, and he's on target again here.
You're exactly right, Phil. It's the shape they get into here on this right-hand side. Lee Breers has got all sorts of options. Quick hands from Chris Bridge. But once you're in that shape, you give somebody like Breers the option to pass long, pass short, or kick.
But Breers goes forward, he straightens the players up, and we'll just watch Chris Wiley. He stops the slide of Willie Talau. Steve Tyder has to come in, but he just can't prevent that try from Chris Hicks.
Great athleticism from Hicks, who's amassing points. It's now 49 tries for him in 62 appearances, 63 appearances for Warrington. It's a phenomenal return. And of course, he's missed a few games. Missed the last 2, in fact. Now Westwood again. Again out wide. This time I think he's missed with that one. But Warrington ahead by 16 points to 6 here.
Well, the attacking side will always have a one-man advantage because the fullback has the opportunity. Here you see Riley coming into the line. Now, if they can execute well enough and get the ball to the man on the outside, they deserve a try. And in this example, they do exactly that.
Why on earth will they talk about getting rid of the corner flag when you see athleticism like that to have to ground the ball? I mean, we're hearing whispers in the international game they're going to get rid of the corner flag. It makes no sense to me whatsoever. I think it's a joy to watch people try and curve their bodies around the corner flag to ground the ball.
Is this the start of your campaign to save the corner flag?
Curve their bodies around the corner
You
flag.
please explain to me why you would even think about getting rid of the corner flag.
Obviously, you're a fan of the corner flag.
Well, here it is again. He squeezes in just inside it. For a point, Brian.
It might alter their role of wingers.
Now.
There's a penalty awarded against Salford for a dangerous tackle.
But we've only got 20 minutes into
And
the game. Top 2 players before I
Holdsworth, Alkirk, just discussing with the referee exactly what his interpretation was there, and the interpretation was it was a dangerous tackle. It's a Warrington penalty.
On the line, guys!
Well, a dangerous tackle by Stephen Ratchford. He does pick up the man and he takes him and his legs into a dangerous position. But again, an indication from Ratchford, I think, of his competitiveness. He wants to play this game and he's playing for keeps.
Ben Harrison plays the ball. Here is Breers now. Breers for Griggs. Another one who was left out against the Catalan Dragons just to have a bit of a breather last weekend. 3 tackles gone. As Anderson plays the ball, Monaghan. That particular little play not leading to much for the Wolves, but Breers, little shimmy, takes them on himself. And that's the 5th tackle. And the kick will come from Myler. He'll hoist that one. Rhys Williams will challenge for it, and so too will Ryan Atkins, and Atkins will claim the try and get it, and back-to-back tries for this Warrington Wolves side. It looks good on the screen for the coach. He likes what he sees as Ryan Atkins gets his 6th try of the season, and the pin-off point kick from Myler set it up for him, and worth the journey.
Well, at the moment, Salford don't seem capable of defending the line, do they, for very long periods. Whenever Warrington Wolves have been down there, partly through some great play, and then an element of luck here with this kick going on. The players stay onside to juggle in the air, and a good catch by Atkins. The chip over the top. Salford have been vulnerable from tries from kicks, and here's another one that they've conceded in 2010. Last tackle play, and the Reds can't cope with it. And the Warrington fans who know that perhaps this year, more than any other year, they do have a chance to challenge with Leeds and St Helens and get to the grand final.
Especially with the village people supporting them. I don't think tabards are obviously now de rigueur for the village people.
I'm sure Jared Samet is in there somewhere.
Westwood eyeing this one up like a putt. So Warrington, after that blip where Ratchford scored. Ironically, it was Ratchford who was beaten to the ball there by Atkins to claim that try, which Westwood will look to convert, which he does successfully. 22 points to 6. The Warrington Wolves are ahead here. Their target 25 or more to go top.
And let's not forget what led to this field position. It was Stephen Ratchford giving that penalty away. He was put under pressure, and Ryan out-jumped him and commanded that ball and scored the try. They cannot give silly penalties away, Salford, if they want to compete with Warrington in this game.
He scored a try in the Easter win against Salford, that 32 points to 2 victory, an emphatic one there, and this on the way to being another emphatic victory, unless Salford could get their hands on the ball, which they haven't really managed to do since they scored that try.
Well, it really is the tipping point here for Salford. Any more points for Warrington, it'll be virtually impossible for them to recover. I think they don't have the scoring ability, but they're still in the area. They can hang on to the fight. They do need to be the next to score, and it's difficult against the Warrington side playing with such confidence.
And with Rhys Williams herring away, and with Myler on the inside, and Myler maybe had just overrun the pass. So Salford come back and very nearly bomb it themselves, but Tyra regains the ball for them. They were looking to catch Warrington. There's Williams' ball inside.
It's passed behind the man. There's the point in it. You've got to put the ball in front at the very least. At full speed, it's so hard to catch it if you have to bend backwards. And Myler and his two colleagues alongside him just can't believe they've blown the chance there, I think, to kill off their opponents.
A let-off for the Salford City Reds, who are in possession now with Sibbett, once to the Warrington Wolves. Playing the ball, Holdsworth, Fitzpatrick joining in the attack, and Ratchford coming back in field. 25 minutes gone. 3 tackles gone in this set of 6. Daniel Holdsworth now, Matty Smith. Again, they're looking to give it some quick width. Sean McRae's men. Now in the middle of the field. Luluai plays the ball, and Smith hoists that one. Williams underneath it, and there were Salford players offside as they challenged for that kick.
If they can cut these penalties out, they'll give themselves a chance. I think Stuart Littler judged to be offside, and putting pressure on Rhys Williams has done well to catch the ball. But if they can cut these penalties out, they'll give themselves a half a chance. But they're marching up Warrington, or allowing Warrington to march up this field with relative ease.
You know, when you talk about attention to detail, it is the little things that go on to become the big things. The final score, people forget, oh, my team didn't stay behind the kicker for that last play, or they put their hands in it to play the ball in an unnecessary situation. It's those aspects really which determine who win and lose. Such is the level of these two teams.
Westwood juggling with the ball. There's that penalty count, and it's punishing for the Salford City Reds. Anderson now. Lovely ball back on the infield to Atkins, and Atkins managing to escape the clutches and get the ball to Rhys Williams, and the Welsh international is in for another Warrington try. He can thank his centre for that. It was Atkins who slipped the clutches of the Salford City Reds defence, and Rhys Williams only called into the side at the last minute because of the absence of Richie Mathers. Gets the latest Warrington try in what is becoming a bit of a procession now here at Murrayfield.
Well, again, we talked earlier about Warrington's ability. They've got several players in the forwards who can offload late in the tackle when it's almost over and they're falling to the ground. Here's one classic example of it. They hit and spin, they keep the ball alive there for the first situation. Then Anderson takes it forward. He's going to ground. Ratchford has almost completed the tackle before he offloads to Atkins, and then finally riding through tackles, releases his winger to score. And it's a fantastic effort there by Williams, and I think a happy one, having had one run down the left-hand wing with a bit of excitement just a few minutes ago. He gets a second effort, and this time he makes sure with 4 points for the Warrington Wolves. Good finish, everyone in the right spot.
Rhys Williams making just his 3rd appearance for the Warrington Wolves, the real-born youngster. And on the score sheet, as is this man, Ben Westwood. It could be on the score sheet quite a lot this afternoon, although not with goal kicking like that. 26 points to 6. It's asking a player like Ben Westwood, who puts such a lot of effort in to kick the goals as well, but scoring tries, Warrington.
Yeah, it's a tough one. He's all action, and he usually stays for near on 80 minutes on the game. He missed a kick last week, and I asked him, I said, you nailed the first one from out wide, and how come so poor with the second one, which was in closer? He said, I was just shattered. He said, I was shattered trying to, you know, run up and kick the ball. So you're right, Bill, it is a big effort.
But he's that sort of player. He's a big effort player, Ben Westwood.
Move!
In his own words, he's phenomenal.
Go! Quicker, Luke!
Well, Tony Smith guided Warrington to their first Challenge Cup success for 35 years in 2009, and now the target is a long overdue championship, and this is a side that more and more looks like it has the ability to deliver that.
Hold! Go!
Not, though, with play like that. Little fumble by Cooper, I think, at that play the ball. Shakes his head just into the fray, trying to catch up with the pace instantly. Not easy to do.
Well, this could be a little lifeline for Salford. They need to get the hands on the ball. Cooper just loses it as he's trying to put the ball down and play, but it's the penalties in the second phase rugby that's really hurting Salford. They've got to complete this set of 6.
So Salford have the ball back for the first time in some considerable time, and certainly in the Warrington Wolves half. Been trundling back towards their own try line for much of the time. Coming up to the half-hour mark, Salford in possession as Philip Luluai plays the ball on the 20-metre line. Here is Holdsworth now. Littler.
Move back up. Hold. Go.
Alka now. Holdsworth, a real influence on this Salford side when they get it together.
Hold. Go.
Alka. Matty Smith with the kick, trying to change the direction of things. It ricochets everywhere. And referee Child says there was no advantage to Salford, so they'll get head and feet at this scrum.
He didn't see a knock on there. Interesting, really. Salford 26 points conceded already in this game, but you would say that they haven't had any hard defending to do. Warrington seems to have cut through with ease, so Salford should still have quite a bit of energy when they do get the ball and get a chance to attack.
Holdsworth trying to engineer that as Talau comes across the field. The pass behind his men, and Ratchford has to retreat to pick it up. The Warrington defenders advance on him, and that attack stalls outside the 20 now. Alka has Adam Sidlow on his shoulder. Wants of Widners and Workington. Sidlow, an imposing figure in the Salford pack, as is that man, Philip Luluai. 3 tackles gone.
Go.
Alka, Holdsworth trying it himself, and very nearly there, just short of that try line. Good defence. Riley in there to make the tackle.
Go.
Matty Smith now, encouraging signs for the Salford City Reds, and Fitzpatrick taking him on, and he's almost through. And this time it's Warrington's turn to scramble in defence, and a cheer rises from the small contingent of Salford supporters behind the post as Myler tidies up in the nick of time for Warrington. And the tables are turned there. Sean McRae, a little look of satisfaction there.
Well, this is one of the reasons, though, why many people think Warrington will get to the grand final. The goal line defence has improved significantly. They're hard to break down. They've just defended 6 tackles, and Salford have a chance here to have 6 more runs at the line. Can they find a way over or through it?
Sidlow underneath that, and then winds up for a tilt at the Warrington defence. Makes it to the 30-metre line. Monaghan, Luluai now. 32 years of age, Philip Luluai. He's still going strong. And this is encouraging as the first half draws to a close for the Salford City Reds. If they can get something on the board here in the last 10 minutes of this first half and not concede at the other end. Matty Smith stepping still for the line, and he's there. That is encouraging. That's ominous for Warrington. We talked about their goal line defence. Well, it was pierced there. A shrug from Sean McRae. Could be a very different story if they hadn't conceded these penalties. And Matty Smith, who's on loan for the season from St Helens, scoring his 2nd try of the season. Great footwork from the former Everton schoolboy there.
Well, every team needs a halfback who's prepared to run at defenders. Big men in the middle of the field don't want fast feet coming at them. And the fact that they've had 6 more tackles prior to this here, he forces the ball in goal and Myler grounds the ball. They've had to defend 1 set. When asked to defend a second, they've struggled here. Players spinning through tackles. He's taken on men, he's taken them on aggressively and in a determined fashion. And it's just given Salford a glimmer of hope here towards the end of this first half. Bounces through 2 tackles, spins through the 3rd, and just scores close to the post. Nod of approval from the big fella.
Well, Matty Smith, in some terms, a pretty seasoned campaigner. He's been around and he's been educated by the best at St Helens, of course, playing on the shoulder of Kieran Cunningham. And now Holdsworth with this conversion attempt, which is bang on target, and don't write the Reds off yet. 26 points to 12, the scoreline, a long way to go here.
Good play by Matty Smith. He stood wide of the ruck. You'll see he gets the big man starting going sideways. He steps off his left foot, steps again. Cooper can't control that tackle. Riley misses him, and Smith goes in for that try.
You know what a try like that does? It exposes people on the other side of the ball that have clocked off a little. It's gone left to Matty Smith. It's people in Warrington's left-hand defence who thought, well, it's over, we don't have to do, we'll take a breather. They get exposed when somebody cuts back more than one player.
This is a Salford side that, as we mentioned earlier on, have troubled some of the big guns. They've beaten Hull, they've beaten Huddersfield. Their other win was right at the start against Harlequins. But to beat Hull and Huddersfield shows you got something about you.
Well, they've troubled a lot of teams in the first half, but they have struggled sometimes in the second half as Luluai takes it forward. We've got a little test on the hands here for the next 5 or 6 minutes, though. The word super sub was basically written for David Solomona. He's just come on the field here now, full of energy, just as the opposition begin to tire. And when Warrington get the ball, he will be a handful.
But at the moment, he's going backwards, as are his team, as a buoyed up Salford side comes forward, and Holdsworth trying to get the ball inside to Littler, and it could have stuck that.
And you try plays like that when you're confident, and they are building in confidence. They've got into this game, and you're right, against all the best of sides in the Super League, Salford have really stood strong.
Here is Riley now.
Surrender!
Playing at full-back, and Salford, well, as we've suggested, they're struggling to get possession, but when they've got it, they've managed to do something creative with it, certainly on a couple of occasions.
Well, Bill, that's not a bad start. 37% that they've had all of the possession, and they've scored 12 points.
They'll take encouragement from that with 4.5 minutes to go.
Has Benny Westwood lost that then?
Long kick and fielded by Ashley Gibson, who I think was hoping that that one would go all the way, and it suddenly dawned on him that it wasn't going to, and then he invited Fitzpatrick to get him out of trouble, and he couldn't get anywhere, and so they concede the goal line dropout.
Well, they do that kick very well, where they kick back to the centre of the field for Myler to use his speed and pace. His enthusiasm there trapped Salford, and along came his teammates to make sure now they're the ones who'll get the goal line dropout going into the last 4 minutes. He traps Gibson, and the foot's already over the dead ball line anyway.
Solomona minus the scrum cap, Bill.
Well, that didn't last long, did it? This season's must-have accessory already discarded by David Solomona. Now here's Simon Grix. Solomona, Myler, Morley. Characteristic little shimmy as he took that ball into collision. Vinnie Anderson. Now for Breers, and Breers almost stepping his way through. Did he stretch over and get that down? He reckons he did. Well, he would, wouldn't he? But the video ref will have to decide on that. Although, is he entirely convinced? He certainly stretched out. Whether he had the ball in his hand when he did, is another question.
Well, they're trying with arms and feet to prevent him from grounding it. I think he does ground the ball.
That's a try. No,
does it hit the line? He has to put some of the ball on some of the line.
He's got this down, on the line.
He's dragged backwards, isn't he? A valiant effort by Adamson and Fitzpatrick.
He's got that to try, Phil.
He's pushed it forward.
I mean, the ref's in a wonderful position.
That's a fair effort from Lee Breers. Been pushed backwards, still have control on that ball, plants it down.
I think there's enough there, isn't there, to award a try.
Well, has Lee Breers got the 100th try in the weekly Super League rounds of his career? He has. The ton is up for Lee Briers as far as weekly rounds go. Gets his third try of the season, and a stretch from Briers gets the points. And again, Salford taking encouragement from a try and then letting Warrington in at the other end.
Well, we've seen a young half-back at one end score for Salford. Lee Briers, towards the end of his career, I suppose, in a veteran stage, decides he's not too old to take on defenders. Goes through in between two, and still at this stage has the strength now to hold off those defenders and ground the ball. Good individual effort by the half-back.
Westwood bangs that one over. And as half-time approaches, Warrington lead by 32 points to 12 now, and Briers, the try scorer, back in the sides against Catalan last week. He's made only 5 appearances this season, but they're telling appearances.
And there's a great lesson in this try in what he's done to Philip Luluai. Lee Briers has gone past long and he's kicked wide in all his previous plays. And that's exactly what the Salford defenders expected that time. He shows it out wide, cuts back inside.
Lee Briers set up a try last week for Mike Cooper because he was willing to take the ball and go up the guts, handing off a livid element, and set up an easy try for Mike Cooper.
Morley thundering onto that ball from the restart, but runs into a good solid tackle from Luke Adamson. Sidlow there to make the tackle on Riley.
Move! Hold, go.
Anderson. Myler. Shimmy from him, but he's going the wrong way. Back towards his own try line there for a moment.
And you could see Lee Briers pointing upfield, telling his forwards to take him straight up the middle of the park.
Vinnie Anderson does just that. Great mane of hair on Anderson. But the ball into the arms of Fitzpatrick. Tyra now. Fresh, breezy evening here in Edinburgh. And this the third game of the day at Murrayfield in this Magic weekend. Leeds Wakefield still to come, of course, this evening to wrap things up before we're back here tomorrow for more. Philip Luluai now.
Back up, hold, go.
Thundering tackle from Harrison there. Grix, in fact, who was in to make the tackle. Olker trying to keep it alive, has lost the ball and it's picked up by Atkins. Still time for Warrington to do more damage. They have the ball back. Briers kicks early, good kick for Hicks to chase, but back goes Tyra. Tyra's lost the ball, Hicks has it back, and they could be in trouble here. Salford, they're scurrying to get back to the defensive line, but Warrington have not hung around, and Riley will be in for the try. Early kick paid dividends. Hicks couldn't capitalise on it, but they got another tackle in, another play the ball in, and from that, Chris Riley, playing at full-back, gets his 15th try of the season. Just behind Pat Richards in terms of top Super League try scorer this season, and keeping on his shoulder. Now level with him after that try.
Well, if you've watched Super League for the last 5 or 10 years, you'd possibly say that this is St Helens-esque. The ability towards the end of the half in the game to kill off your opponents with a clinical play. They spot the space, they exploit it perfectly with the skill, and then they stick in the sword right for the death. Brilliant play by Riley to time his run to perfection and convert here what was a chance into 4 more points, quite possibly 6 here at the side of the post. The fans know they're on to a winner.
7 tries for Warrington, 6 of them to their fast-running, free-flowing, attack-minded three-quarters. And that's now 10 tries in 7 appearances for Chris Riley. 2 more points for the boot of Benny Westwood. As the half-time whistle sounds, and the Warrington Wolves, well, they're gathered for a bit of a chat on the halfway line before they head for the dressing rooms. But Morley and his men have got to be pretty satisfied with that scoreline. 38 points to 12 they lead. The supporters certainly are.
Yes, the supporters delighted, and that reminds me of the time when Tony Smith was in charge at Headingley and the Leeds Rhinos gathered on the field and left the field together, and that's what Warrington are doing these days. Well, a massive first half for Warrington. Salford were competitive for much of it, weren't they? But at the end of the half, Warrington just ran away with it.